5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, you filthy, disgusting, dirty degenerates. Time for a little fight breakdown while I'm on my morning walk, doing the Huberman thing. What does that mean? That means I'm fat and I don't want to be. So I'm going to walk in the morning for at least 30 minutes fasted because Huberman said so. Let's get Hubie. We're going to be super human. Super Huberman? Huber Superman. Doesn't matter, it's all the same. If you're not walking, you want to go on a walk with me, let's walk and talk. What are we talking about? This weekend, main event, Steve Erceg, also known as Howdy Doody, taking on the champion, Alexandre Pantoja. That dude's got a badass name, bro. Badass name. And you know what? When this fight was first announced, there wasn't like, yes, it's on! Yes, let's go! It was like, what? Who? Who's Steve Erceg? Furbed? Not a well-known guy, but a damn good fighter. In fact, this is the absolute most dangerous fight Pantoja can take right now. And I mean that for real. Not joking, not a little bit of sleight of hand. Literally the most dangerous fight he could take right now. Besides whoever else is in the top 10 of the division, no one looks goofier or nerdier than Steve Erceg. And if any of you guys have been confronted by or in a fight with a goofy looking dude, you know that is a no-win situation. If Pantoja beats Steve Erceg, he's going to go and tell his friends, yeah, I beat Steve Erceg. And they're going to be like, who? And if he loses to Steve Erceg, he's going to be like, yeah, I lost my belt to Steve Erceg. And people are going to be like, who? What? Show me a picture. And then they're going to see him. And it's going to be all bad. 100% the most dangerous fight Pantoja can take. And as we were complaining about it, when it first got announced, on second look, you're like, you know what? This is what we should have. We should have a champion willing to take anyone on in the top 10 who's a legitimate contender. And Steve Erceg is a legitimate contender in the top 10, even though he only has 3 fights in the UFC. I just messed up my setting on my... I'm not Huberman! Back to Huberman. Let's go! So, let's break the fight down. Let's start off with Erceg first. Dude, this guy has got hands. First of all, he has like a real Rory McDonald feel about him. He's not as like flat affect as Rory McDonald, but his style, his stance, his sharpness in his hands, very similar to, it reminds me a lot of the old school, McDonald that we used to see before before his mindset changed, before he fought Robbie Lawler, let's be honest, okay? Robbie Lawler could change some mindsets, you know what I'm saying? He can change some dimensions of time and space in your brain, dog. So anyways, Erceg definitely has that feel, his stance, the way he works his hands. He's got some super sharp hands, man. He's got sharp hands and he's got really accurate punches and great setups. This dude is a super sharp striker. And not only is he a super sharp striker, but his grappling is no joke either. One thing that I did notice about him though, is that he can get caught up in chasing the submission as opposed to like securing the position, and it leaves a lot of openings. And I think that's something that Pantoja will be able to take advantage of if and when the fight hits the mat. I think it will hit the mat. And I mean, I'll tell you right now, when it does hit the mat, it's going to be scrambles. Both them dudes got more scrambles than Denny's, bro. Okay, so you're going to see some high-level jiu-jitsu, super high-level grappling, solid wrestling. And the only thing that I think that could kind of mess up Usyk is if he's really just chasing that submission too much, gets himself out of position, and lets Pantoja get on top and control him. Because Pantoja's top game, his control game, period, is solid. His back taking and finishing game is critical. It's beautiful and dangerous and harmful all at the same time. His ground game, dude, we're not even talking about Pantoja yet. Calm down, Marty. Calm down. Steve Usyk, goofiest guy on the block, most dangerous fight to take for sure. A couple other things I noticed about him. He doesn't check the low kick very well. That could come into play in this fight, and it can lead to some bad stuff for him. It could lead to him slowing down later on in the fight too. Speaking of later on in the fight, we haven't seen Usyk go rounds. We haven't seen him go 5 rounds. Okay, so we don't know what that's like for him. We've seen Pantoja do it on more than one occasion. If you've watched him, you know his output goes up and then down and up and down. And as soon as he looks gassed out, like, oh, dude, the tide's going to turn right now, he finds another gear and he gets it. So definitely championship cardio, championship rounds, championship. He's just got that champion in him. He pulls it out when he needs to. And I have a feeling he'll need to, because this is going to be like a good back and forth for some time. I don't know if someone's going to take over at some point, but it's going to get some back and forth for a while. A couple things about, other things about Usyk. Like I said, his hands are sharp and accurate, usually at distance though, right at the end of the punch range. He gets a little bit lost when it comes to the phone booth. The phone booth fighting in close, that clinch work and that in close boxing, he gets a little bit lost and he gets a little bit slower as flurries go on. So if he's throwing like a 4 or 5 punch combo, a lot of times his are slower than the opposition. And I think it's something that Pantoja can and probably should try to take advantage of, because that in close, that's not Usyk's thing. Usyk's thing's out in the distance, sniping, countering, setting up shots. Dude, it's real pretty though. When he does it, it's real pretty. So just know Steve Usyk looks funny, but he's a bad dude. Like all capital letters, B-A-D, bad. Michael Jackson bad. Except for like the kids, the weird stuff. You know. Why, Michael? We're not talking about that. We're talking about fights. We're talking about Steve Usyk looking goofy, but being a badass, making him the most dangerous fight that Pantoja could take. All right. On to Pantoja. Pantoja, as we know, he has a lot of experience. He has quite a few fights. He's definitely the veteran in this particular matchup. Excuse me while I wipe my sweat. I'm sure you guys wanted to see that. But this dude, he's just as well-rounded, if not more. The trade-off here, Steve Usyk, super sharp striking. Real pretty to look at. Pantoja, not super sharp, but very violent and very dynamic striking. He comes in fast and hard, dude. Don't make that weird, okay? But he does. He starts off really fast. He gets in your face. And for Usyk, one of my keys to victory for him is that he keeps that outside range, into the punch range, snipes, picks apart. Honestly, I don't know if he'll be able to do that with Pantoja. I don't think that Pantoja will give him the option of staying on the outside. Even if he puts himself at risk, Pantoja will come in with the kicks, with the punches, just to close that distance. You have to understand that he's not trying to land a knockout punch or kick when he does that. When they're this far away and he wants to get here, he does it almost wild and recklessly, but it comes in so fast and with so much that you're kind of distracted by the defense while he's quickly closing that gap. And I think that's going to be a key to success for him. The clinch work, the inside work. I did notice that he has a hard time getting a takedown from the outside. Just maybe shooting a hook and then getting under to get a takedown. Not super successful with that. What he is very successful with is getting takedowns off of kicks, off of his opponent's throwing kicks, and from the clinch. Steve, I can think of one time where he made a mistake and threw a kick and it landed, but it wasn't a great time or space to throw the kick. Plus he fell after he landed the kick, and that could have started a scramble. If that happens with Pantoja, it's not going to be to Usyk's advantage. That'll be a mistake that might cost him the fight, or more likely would cost him the round. Okay, so he has to be more choosy with the strikes that he throws. As far as Pantoja goes, I mean, dude is super resilient, super tough. We've seen him in a lot of fights, so we know what he has coming in. At the same time, his punches from the outside are loopy. They are telegraphed. You can see them coming. So if Usyk can keep that outside distance and keep him at range at the end of his punches, it'll be a more interesting fight. It'll be a more entertaining fight. And it'll also be a better chance for Usyk to win. If Pantoja is able to get inside, make it dirty in the stand-up and get some takedowns, it's going to be a problem from Usyk. Usyk's no slouch on the ground. His jiu-jitsu is very good. Pantoja's a different level though. His back take and his scramble when he's on top is almost magical. He's almost like a magician. And his back take, it looks like it's on fast forward. He does transitions like very few people I've seen before. The only person I could think of before that was like that dynamic, right off the top of my head, Genki Sudo. If you don't know who Genki Sudo is, go look him up. Genki Sudo. Genki Sudo is the dopest. And he had top game transitions and back takes similar to what we see with Pantoja. I'm sure there's other guys out there. That's just the one that pops out of my head. But I think he can make it. More of his fight if he can stay on top and control the position. Maybe hunt for submissions, but his ground and pound is no joke either. Also leg kicks. Like I mentioned earlier, Steve Usyk has an issue checking leg kicks consistently. And Pantoja has nice setups for leg kicks. Off the left hook, right low leg kick, throw a combo, or he has a way of like making people move in the direction that he wants to. And he'll use feints to set up his low kicks, which is really smart. I think Usyk could take a cue from him and try to set up some of his kicks a little bit better. In future fights, that's like another wrinkle that he could put in his game. One thing for sure, though, that I think Usyk could take advantage of with Pantoja is using his jab. Pantoja doesn't see the jab very well. And neither one of these guys have very good head movement, a very consistent head movement, I'll say that. If Usyk can get his jab going, he can make it a rough night for Pantoja, because Pantoja doesn't always see the jab. He keeps his head just in there, and then he's just eating jabs. And if Usyk can time that get the distance, get the timing. He can snipe with some crosses and hooks after. That left hook that he set up, dang it, what's his name? You know who I'm talking about, his last fight. He set up that left hook. Man, I haven't seen a prettier left hook in a long time. Right on the button and put homeboy out. And I can't remember his name right now. It's gonna bother me. I'm sure someone's gonna comment, it's so-and-so, stupid. And fine, thanks. Comments help. Like and subscribe. Anyways, where does this leave us? What's my prediction? I predict this is gonna be an awesome fight. It's better than it looks like on paper. You will enjoy it. Don't get mad that someone further down in the top 10 is getting a shot. We complain when champions or higher ranked people don't take lower ranked opponents. Pantoja's taking a guy that's not well known, that's extremely dangerous, and that's lower in the ranks. It's all a risk, and he's doing it at home. I didn't even think about that. He's doing it at home. I think overall that gives Pantoja the edge. If I had to lean one way or the other, it would be to Pantoja. Honestly though, Pantoja is like a 2.5 to 1. And by the time the fight happens, he might be a greater favorite. And at that time, it might be dog or pass, okay? If Usyk's like plus 250, probably gonna put a little bit of money on that. I'll probably put a little bit of money on that with some, and I might parlay it with a couple of high confidence bets just to boost that up. But we'll see. One thing that I'm very interested in looking at is the over 2.5, over 3.5, because both of these guys are extremely resilient, and Pantoja doesn't have any stoppages. He's never been stopped. I don't think Usyk has either. I'd have to take a look at that again. Maybe you guys can look and let me know. But in any case, I would definitely be interested in looking at the over and see what those lines are. If they're better than what I'm looking at for Pantoja, I'd probably do that. But just know that Usyk is going to be a live dog. It's going to be a good fight. And the one way that Pantoja can make all of us look stupid, me especially, is by just smothering him, getting him down and overwhelming him with ground and pound and get a stoppage. That is a possibility. That's a reality. Outside of that, I think it has a really good chance of being a longer fight, of seeing a lot of different dynamic stuff standing up and on the mat. And honestly, I think we're in for a treat. I'm going to be putting together some parlays and other fight analysis. Probably the day of weigh-in, probably Friday. I like to do post weigh-in predictions and stuff like that. So stay tuned. They come out later, but honestly, if you're trying to beat lines, I don't try to beat lines anymore. The line flops, the line flops. I like to get all the information I can and make my shots from there. So tune in, click the notifications, do all the algorithm stuff. So, we can get daddy paid a little bit of money. I got a kid to raise, you know what I'm saying? In the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of your family. Let's cash some tickets. Peace.